Good Wednesday evening, everyone. We are live. We're going to have a weather update for this evening and going over the next few days across the area. But first, if you're just out joining us on Facebook, click that like button, comment where you're from, share this with your friends and family. And if you're over on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. It's like liking the page on Facebook. Hit that subscribe button and hit all for notifications, and you will be notified every time we post videos and go live over on YouTube. Every single time you'll be notified if you do that correctly. All right, let's go over what's happening across the region for tonight, and then we'll go over future radar. We'll go over highs for tomorrow as well. And dare do I say, is there going to be a tropical disturbance in the Gulf in the next 10 to 14 days? We can take a look at that. I'm sure you guys have seen a few bits and pieces here and there. GFS likes to go crazy sometimes with tropical storm or tropical weather and winter weather, as you know. All right, let's take a look at the latest satellite picture. You can see some storminess, basically with this disturbance down here just off the coast, just north of Puerto Rico here, and just east of Cuba. And then we have this, here's that frontal boundary basically draped across the southern parts of the region here. There is some storms developing down here across southwestern parts of Texas. Storms ongoing as well across parts of Alabama. There has been some wind damage across that area. And there's been a couple major tornadoes up here towards Maryland today. You see where some storms are developing even into the hour we are in now up here and towards Ohio. But the rest of the country is basically, especially northwest, towards the northern parts of the Dakotas even, there's really nothing going on at the moment, mostly through the south and over towards the east coast. Is That's where all the active weather is now. It's going to quiet down for a few days, and then this frontal boundary is actually going to start coming back north and kind of drape up here across Kansas into Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri this weekend. And there could be some complexes of storms that kind of ride that. So there could be some flash flooding threats up into the Ozarks, possibly into Oklahoma and Kansas and Missouri as we go in through possibly Friday night into Saturday. And we'll get more into that here in just a second. All right, here is the latest across the United States. Basically, the advisories or warnings or anything like that. But out west, you see where that big bubble of high pressure is. Excessive heat warnings, heat advisories out for the Southwest. This is basically typical for the West. They start getting hot. It is getting into June now, so 100-degree temperatures possible out that way. You can see there's a lot of flood warnings, flood advisories across the eastern parts of Texas into Louisiana. They've had a lot of rain over the last basically 45 days across that area. And then out east here, there is some flash flood warnings out here towards Ohio, and then down here towards Mississippi as well. Alrighty, here is severe weather possibilities for the rest of the night. Let me get that off there so you can see what's going on. Basically, down here in far southern Texas, southwest Texas, like I showed you, there is storm development down that way. There is a marginal risk down into parts of Texas, right around the Mexico-Texas border down here. And then you get up towards Alabama into parts of Tennessee. There's a marginal risk up here. There's a marginal risk up here towards Maryland into Delaware as well, over towards New Jersey. And then up here towards Ohio Valley here, Ohio, up into Pennsylvania and far western New York, including Buffalo area. And then up here towards Wisconsin as well. So that's for the rest of tonight. Let's take a look at tomorrow. Alrighty, this is for your Thursday. So there is a marginal risk here across parts of Texas in through parts of southwest Oklahoma, down here into Florida as well, and then across the mid-Atlantic into the northeast. Marginal risk of severe weather, maybe some gusty winds, maybe a few isolated hail reports here and there, but that'll be about it across the area. So a very welcome break, especially across the south and the central parts of the United States. All right, then as we get into Friday, a lot more quieter across the east, southeast, but we have this little trouble spot out here towards Colorado into western Kansas, southwestern Nebraska, where there's a marginal risk there. Like I said, there is a front that's basically coming through. Going to settle its way south here, then it's going to start coming back north. And this is where we're going to set the stage for some possible issues later this weekend across Missouri into Arkansas, Oklahoma into Kansas, with possible flash flooding that could happen with some of these nocturnal thunderstorms, big clusters of thunderstorms that ride down this front. I'm going to show you that here in just a second. All right, as we go into Friday afternoon and into Saturday, this is what I was talking about, where that front kind of hangs up as it starts coming north, kind of stalls out here, and some pieces of energy come along that front. There's going to be possibly some excessive rainfall. Slight risk down here towards southwest Missouri to far northwestern Arkansas, through most of eastern half of Kansas, and to far northeastern parts of Oklahoma. There is a marginal risk for excessive rain all the way through basically the Arkansas mountains here, the Ozarks, through parts of Missouri, all the way through even central to east central Oklahoma as well. Like I said, you get some train thunderstorms. You could get several inches of rain as we go into Friday to Saturday. This will be our next weather maker coming into parts of the region. So how much rain are we expecting between basically now and the next 5-6 days? Let's take a look. All right, this is just between now and next Monday night, basically. And most of this into Arkansas, Southern Missouri is going to come this weekend. So there could be some spots that hit that 2 to 3, maybe even a localized 4 inch amount across Southern Missouri into northern Arkansas, maybe even the northeastern Oklahoma and southeastern parts of Kansas and across southern Missouri, of course, as well. With that boundary that's stalled out, could get multiple rounds of thunderstorms and could lead to some flash flooding. General 1 to 3 inches is possible by the end of the weekend through parts of Arkansas into southern Missouri. Other than that, just some general, maybe up to an inch or inch and a half into spots across the southeast, especially from tonight in through tomorrow. Then it kind of quiets down that way. So basically, this is how it's going to be from now all the way through the weekend into next Monday. All right, just a little hint at what the model's been picking up. As you can see this little disturbance down here towards down to south of Cuba here. This is what I'm talking. This is what I've been talking about. A 12Z GFS really showed it earlier, really blowing up in the Gulf. But I was gonna basically, it's hurricane season, and we're expecting a very active hurricane season. So you need to stay up on the weather always throughout the summer. But as we go forward, there is going to be a disturbance possible as we get into this is Tuesday the 11th. There could be a disturbance basically coming into either parts of Cuba or coming into the Gulf of Mexico. Whether this develops or not, it's still going to cause some issues down in Florida with possible flooding as well. This is going into next Thursday, the 13th. There's some models bringing it up towards the Gulf and developing it further. And like I've said a few different times, the Gulf of Mexico is basically like mid to late July temperatures. Bath water, it's almost 9 degrees in spots. Same throughout the main development region, throughout the Atlantic. Very warm, very above average ocean temperatures. So that will be very conducive to the development as we go forward. So, like I said, there's going to be this system roaming around here around basically from the 11th of June all the way through mid-month. So we're going to keep an eye out for you, and we'll have updates. But this thing's going to roam around the Gulf Coast and cause some issues as we go forward here through time.